Hi guys, it's Miss Debbie from the Appomattox Regional Library System. And today I have a super fun craft for you that you use to decorate the outside of your home. Any guesses? Today we are gonna make wind chimes. I'm gonna show you two different ways to make wind chimes. The first one is a little bit complicated and uses craft sticks. The second one is super easy and just uses a stick and some beads. All right, guys, let's get to it. For this first craft, what you're gonna need is a pair of scissors, some fishing line or some beading string, some beads, some glue, and lastly, some craft sticks. And with the craft sticks, what you're gonna wanna do is make this base, and that's gonna be the first step I show you. So let's get to it. The first step is to make 2 triangles out of 3 sticks each. You can use any kind of glue you like, but just make sure your triangles are completely dry before you glue them together. I wanted to go ahead and show you the next step, so I just used a pre-dried triangle. For step 2, you're going to want to lay 1 triangle upside down and 1 right side up and glue them together and let that completely dry while you move on to step 3. Step 3, you're going to want to cut 3 equal lengths of string, and you're going to want to start beading those. I like to start off my beads by doing a knot around the first bead, and that just makes the beads all stay on the rope and prevent it from breaking. You can do your beads in any pattern you like, or how I did it with no pattern. You're going to want to make sure your beads have a large bead on the end and the beginning so they clap together nicely and so you have a little bit of support for your base. You're going to want to knot the top of each of your bead strings. And you're going to want to leave a large portion of string to make your knot to finish your wind chime. We're going to start this step by making a nice big loop, and then we're going to put another bead on. And you want to pull the string back through the bead one more time, and this secures the bead in place. And now you're going to want to give about 2 to 3 inches between this bead and your next bead, and you're going to want to secure that one in place by putting it on and then bringing the string back through one more time, and then you can begin to bead as usual. The purpose of this nice big gap is to have places to tie your other strands of beads onto this one. And you're just going to bead as usual. You can make this one as long as you like. It's more for decoration than actually making any sound. And when you're done with that one, just tie it off as usual. I did use a different color of string for this one because if I didn't, the camera just was not picking it up with the clear, and I wanted you to be able to see everything I was doing since this is a super important part. Now we're on step 5, which is the hardest part of this entire thing. We are going to combine everything and make our wind chime. You're going to want to start by bringing your 3 strands of beads you originally made through 3 points of 1 triangle. And you're just going to give it a nice loop around the middle bar. And then you're going to tie each one individually to the middle string. And just like I said, just bring it on through, loop it around that middle bar, and then securely tie it to the middle piece. And you're going to want to make sure your strings are even so it hangs center. And parents, you probably want to do this for your kid. For this next craft, what you're going to need is a stick, some scissors, some beading wire or some fishing wire, some beads, and I like to use yarn across the top, but you can always reuse the fishing wire or beading wire, whichever you have. All right, let's get to it. The first step in this craft is to actually look at your piece of wood and plan how you want your wind chime to look. You can do as many or as few strings as you like. This is super open-ended. And once you do that, you want to cut your strings accordingly. An example of this is I chose to do a 5-string wind chime, and I went ahead and did 2 medium-sized strings, 2 short strings, and I wanted my middle one to be super long. So I did 1 super long string. And you want to leave plenty of string at the end of each of your strands of beads to be able to tie it back onto your wind chime. So go ahead and think about that when you're cutting. Now, once you finish cutting all your strings, you're going to want to start stringing your beads. I start by making a knot at the end of my string, and then I loop it through the first bead a couple times. It does make it hang a little wonky, but it does make it super secure as well. So I like that security, even though it does make my first bead twist a little bit. And after that, you're just going to want to string your beads as you normally would. When you get to the end of your string, go ahead and tie it off, leaving that nice long bit of rope at the end so you can tie that onto your stick. To do my next to last step, I went ahead and laid all of my strands of beads on my stick. So I made sure I was super happy with how they were on there, and I was sure with the placement. When deciding your placement, you want to make sure that your beads can get slapped together by the wind so they make a nice sound. And when I tied it off, I looped, and then I tied, and then I did another loop, and I tied. And after that second loop, I just kept tying until I ran out of string, and then I cut it. You want to make sure your beads are super secure on there, but do remember if they fall off, you've already tied off your beads at both ends, so hopefully you won't lose any beads and you'll just need to tie it back on. All right, and now you're going to want to go in with your yarn, and you're going to want to tie it at both ends to give yourself a nice handle for your wind chime so you can hang it up wherever you like. And if you don't have yarn, you can totally use the same string you used to bead on to tie it onto the wood. All right, guys, thank you for joining me in this super fun craft. I hope you had fun learning to make wind chimes, and I hope you'll come back and watch our next video. Bye.